Hi, this is going to be part two of my to be read list. I had to split this up into two parts because I take for fucking ever to explain things, and so it would have been a 40-minute long video, and I decided that nah, I'm not going to do that, and nor did I want to edit it that way. But yeah, you can go see everything down below, and I may or may not have accumulated several library books since the time of this video, so I haven't read anything on my list yet. I have only read library books, so yeah. Um, but thank you all so much for being here and for watching, and enjoy the video. Okay, enjoy past C.
Alright, this next section, I'm not going to go into too many details about these books because there's a lot of them and I don't have all of the series completed. But as I said earlier, that I collect V.C. Andrews books, and you may know V.C. Andrews from her book Flowers in the Attic. I've actually never read this series. This is like her most well-known series and I haven't read it. I've read the Landry family series and Delia's series. I really connected with Delia's the most. But yes, so I collect these books. I don't know what made me start collecting them, but I've always really liked the old 80s, 90s type style of books. I also collect the Fear Street novels by R.L. Stine and Christopher Pike books as well, but all of those are at my parents' house. But yeah, also, they are starting to starting to sell her books again with new covers and everything. And so my mom has bought me these. And so I also have these. But I will just insert a clip, and again, I will have them all linked down below, of the books that I have and that I plan on reading. Because there's just so many, and it will be hard to describe all of the series together. So I will just insert a clip here, and we will move on to the other books.
This is just a clip showing the books of the V.C. Andrews novels that I have laid out on my bed. You can see them linked down below.
Okay, hi. So the rest of these are in no particular order. Some of these are books that I've had for several years. I'm going to start with the series that I have that I hope to read. And so I'm not going to show every book in the series, but I do have the complete series from my mom buying them, which is the Three Dark Crowns by, is it Kendare Blake or Kendare Blake? I know that this series is also very popular. Um, I own all of these. She is also the author of Anna Dressed in Blood. And to be honest, I don't know the premise of the series, so I will just have to read and find out. And I even have the novellas of it. But that is one of the two series that I have. The other series is the A Study in Charlotte series. This series is also very popular, and it's based around Watson and Holmes. And this is by Brittany Cavallaro. Cavallero. I don't know if she's Spanish or not. And so yeah, I have this series. I actually bought the Last of August book on its own a long time ago because it looked cool, but I did not know that it was part of a series, and so I eventually had to purchase a series. But yeah, I was gifted those by my mom. And then the rest of these are books that I've had again for a while and in no particular order of ones that I'm going to read. So yeah, there's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which everyone has been telling me to read. So I will eventually read that. This is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And yeah, I believe this is a Netflix series now. But this is a very popular book, so I'm not going to go into detail about this. And then I have Sabaa Tahir, An Ember in the Ashes. This book is thick. I think there's a second book in this about this, but I am not for sure. Oh yeah, there is a anticipated sequel. It's called A Torch Against the Night. But I don't own that. But yeah, I have the first book, and like I said, it is thick. And I've owned this for several years and haven't read it. Then we have Fable by Adrienne Young. This one, the cover is just really pretty. It says, "Welcome to a world made dangerous by the sea and by those who wish to profit from it, where a young girl must find her place and her family while trying to survive in a world built for men." And so Fable is the name of the girl. And like I said, just it's a very pretty cover. And her hair wraps around the back. And yeah, and this was a Reese's YA book club book. Some of these are nonfiction, like I have Queer, There, and Everywhere, 23 People Who Changed the World by Sarah Prager. And so this is on like Marsha P. Johnson, several other people that their names aren't coming to my head at the moment. Albert Cashier, Abraham Lincoln, and so on and so forth. And so I've been meaning to read this. There have been other versions of this that are out there. There's a hardback book that has more about it, but yeah, this is one of those books that I've owned and never read, but I've read most of the queer books that I've owned. I don't know why I never read this one. Speaking of queer books I haven't read, then we have Sissy, a coming of gender story by Jacob Tobiah, or Tobia. I'm butchering names and I'm so sorry. But I've been meaning to read this for a long time, and this is about his coming out story with his gender identity. And I just know that it is supposed to be really good. It has some recommendations from like Tyler Oakley, Janet Mock, Billie Jean King, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Monica Lewinsky, big names that y'all would know. And yeah, I've been recommended this. I've owned it for years, and I just haven't read it. Then I have The Iron Witch by Karen Mahoney, which this one just seems right up my alley. I really love mystery and like magical and witchy and fantasy books. I really love books on the Fae. I read the Iron King, Iron Queen. I don't remember what the first book is, but the Iron Fae series by Julia Kagawa when I was a kid. There were several other books that I loved, but that series has always stuck with me. And this one just felt right up my alley with that. And then we have Girl at the Grave, and this is also one of the forewords for this book is by one of my favorite authors, with is Carrie Maniscalco, and she wrote the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, which is one of my favorite series. And so yeah, this is by Terry Bailey Black, and it's just another right up my alley type of books. And I will let you know, this was probably going to be like one of the first novels that I read, besides like my witchy book, so very excited about that. And then these two, I don't know if they're a series or it's what, but this is House of Secrets and House of Shadows by Darcy Coates. I don't know if they go together or not, if they're separate books. I think they go together because they both have Sophie and Joseph Argenton on the back. And so I assume they go together, but I have no idea. My mom bought these books for Christmas one year. And they just also look right up my alley with the scariness and all of that. And so we'll be reading these. I don't know. I will have to, I'll put in the little document which comes first when I make it. Speaking of scary books, I was talking earlier how I collect the Fear Street novels by R.L. Stine. These are some novels that came out in Barnes & Noble years ago, and they are Fear Street super thrillers, and so they have multiple books in it. This one has The Lost Girl and Can You Keep a Secret, and then this one has The Dead Boyfriend and Give Me a Kill, which is kill. And I've just always been a fan of R.L. Stine. I never read the Goosebumps series. those ones just kind of like grossed me out from watching the movies, and so I never like had an interest in them. But I always read the Fear Street series, which is the ones that came out like in the 90s and were more like gauged towards like teens. And I read those first, and I just always stuck with those. And so, yeah, I will just keep reading these. But yeah, these are thick, but there are two books in one. And so, yeah, these came out years ago, and I just need to read them. I may have read one of these books, like previously. I don't remember. But they all like happen in Shady Side, which is where Fear Street is. So yeah, I really do like Fear Street, and so I recommend getting into them if you are into like horror and the supernatural and like murder and stuff like that. We'll continue on that streak, and this is actually the last book I have in the horror like mystery genre is The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco. Just the cover is very pretty, and I am excited to read this. This was one of those like don't judge a book by the cover thing, but I definitely judged it by its cover and put it on my list for my mom to get me when she buys me books. So that is the last in like that type of series. I have some
Hi, editing C here. If you take a shot every single time that I say or you would be blackout drunk by now. I am so tired and I can't edit them all out because they're like in between words. So I am so sorry. Please continue.
Um, and then I have Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers, who is a black millennial. This is her debut novel. The cover is absolutely stunning. I adore it. I'm excited to read this one. Um, it is on a girl named Grace Porter, who is just completed her PhD in astronomy. She's a straight A, hardworking achiever. She is not the kind of person who goes to Vegas and gets drunkenly married to a woman whose name she doesn't know until she does exactly that. And that is the first little snippet of the back of the cover. And I'm excited to read this. This is gorgeous. I definitely did the judge a book on its cover thing. I really like pretty books, and this was just one that was right up my alley. And then another book by a black artist that you all will know. I have a signed collector's edition by Angie Thomas, which is The Hate You Give. I know the plot and the premise of the book because it has been spoiled. And it does have is it a movie? I think it's a movie. And The Hate You Give spells out thug for those that don't get it. But yeah, it's a story on police brutality. This is just a book that I've been meaning to read, and then with the collector's edition, it does have some like special bonus content material, which I won't show because it is the collector's edition. But yes, this is one that I've been meaning to read. I just haven't read books in general, so that fell off my radar. And then another book this is a nonfiction book. This I got secondhand. I just found it at a Goodwill. And it's The White Man's Burden, which it goes on why the West's efforts to aid the rest have done so much ill and so little good by William Easterly. And so it goes on like how with the Western aid of in like Africa and other third world countries, and the tragic hubris of the West's efforts to improve the developing world. And so I just saw this at a Goodwill, and I was like, oh, I will definitely pick this up and read it because I am white and it is my responsibility to educate myself. I have picked up from my library and I have them on my to read list. I flipped through them, but I didn't actively like read them because I didn't have the time of several other books, which I can also link my Ko-fi post about them down below. But yes, I will be reading this and educating myself, and will educate others based upon it. There is actually some highlights in this book already. I don't know if it was from a white person or not. But like I said, this was secondhand. There's a couple dog-eared pages, um, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I have Connor Franta's House Fires. I've used to love O2L, have followed Connor Franta all the time. I own his first book. I don't have his second book, but when I had a Target gift card, I picked this up at Target. Um, and yes, I believe this is poems by him. Yep, it's poems, and I think some uh, little excerpts, and it has some photos that Connor has taken himself. So I have that. I have Dodie Clark's book, Secrets for the Mad. She wrote this a long time ago, but I have owned this and have meant to read this. But yes, I love Dodie's music. It's very much my vibe, so I'm going to read her book. And then the last two, I have Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I'm not going to talk about this because many people have read it and know about it. This is a signed copy. I got this for Christmas one year. I haven't read all. I've read most of John Green's books. And so my parents got me this. And yeah, that is this book. Again, not going to go into detail because it's been out for several years and everyone has read it. And then the last book, which is another one that I found secondhand, which is Ecotherapy, which is on healing ourselves and healing the earth. When was this published? This was published in 1996. So this came out years ago, but it is very timely with, the climate crisis. The book, seems like it was never touched. I also found this at a Goodwill. And so I want to read. I love the earth. I am very eco-friendly and climate forward and do make most of my decisions when shopping as best as I can with what's accessible to me, with what I can do for the environment. So yes, but that is my to-be-read list. If you want to read anything with me, you can go ahead and click the link down below. I will have a description list of all of the books that I plan to read if you would like to join me, but don't feel like that you have to. But yeah, also linked down below will be all of my socials, links to the people that I follow on Instagram and all of that I chatted about earlier, and all that jazz. So if you want to follow me on my socials, you can go do so down there. And if you want, you can subscribe and all that jazz. I don't really know how to do the like and subscribe and all of that stuff quite yet. I'm not very comfy with it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video and have a happy time zone, and I will see you next week. Bye, friends.